Hi, my name is Michele Rousseau, and I'm a professional hypnotist over in Middletown. But you might recognize me from the reference desk at Lucy Robbins Wells Library, where I fill in as a substitute some evenings and some Saturdays. But during the day, I'm a professional hypnotist. And what I'd like to present to you in this video is some information about how you can use self-hypnosis as a tool for your personal growth. And this is actually part one of two videos. And in this video, I'll talk about how and why self-hypnosis works. And then in the second video, I'll guide you through a light hypnosis process so that you can experience it for yourself. And ultimately, you'll be able to recreate the process so that you can customize it for your own particular needs. Now, I just have two caveats that mostly pertain to the second video, but I'd like to state them here in this video as well. Because hypnosis is a powerful state of focused attention, do not engage in any hypnotic activity while you should be focused on other tasks. For example, do not use hypnosis while driving a car, while operating machinery, or doing any other activity that requires a high level of attention from you. And also, hypnosis is not intended to be a substitute for physical or mental health treatment. Health issues should be addressed by the appropriate licensed healthcare professionals. And then if they feel that using hypnosis might be helpful to you, then with their permission, you can proceed as they direct you to. So, let's talk about hypnosis. What is hypnosis? Well, as I said earlier, hypnosis is really just a very focused level of attention. Now, you might have experienced that at work when you're in the flow and you just sort of zone out and you don't notice the people that are around you because you're so immersed in your work. That's hypnosis. When you're reading a really good book and you're so immersed into the storyline that you lose track of time, you might even lose track of where you are. That's hypnosis. Same thing when you're in a movie theater and you're watching the action up on the screen and you almost forget that you're in a theater with other people because you're just so immersed into the story that's unfolding up on the screen. That's a form of hypnosis. And so really that's all hypnosis is just very focused attention. Hypnosis is also very relaxing. It's very natural. As I said, you go in and out of hypnosis naturally, and you go through it all throughout the day. What we do when we use hypnosis at my office, or if you use hypnosis yourself, you're just creating those same conditions for yourself so that you can harness that moment and use that hypnotic state for your benefit. So, how exactly does hypnosis work? Well, first, let's talk about how the mind works. When we talk about hypnosis, we talk about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Now, when we talk about the subconscious, it's not as if there's a place in your brain that they can x-ray or that they can do surgery on to pluck out that part of your brain. What we're talking about is a theoretical model. It's a model of how your thinking works. You have the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. The conscious mind contains your logic and your reason and all those things that you're very much aware of. Whereas the subconscious mind contains a lot of hidden thoughts, things that you believe very deeply. And of course, you can have beliefs in the conscious mind, but sometimes they can be very different from the beliefs that you hold in your subconscious mind. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the subconscious mind contains a lot of those thoughts and beliefs and things that we're just not aware of. That's why they call it the subconscious. It's below our conscious awareness. Now, the theory states that our conscious thinking only makes up about 10% of our thought power. The other 90% is our subconscious thinking. So we can have a conscious thought. We can make a conscious decision that we're going to change a habit. Let's just use weight loss for an example. Say we want to lose 10, 20 pounds. We might make the conscious decision that we're going to eat better. We're going to select healthier food. We're going to eat smaller portions. And this is going to help us lose weight. And we're all excited. And we're going to start this diet. And we're going to enjoy it. And what happens after a day or two, maybe after a week if we're lucky? We fall back into the old pattern, the old way of eating. And this is because habits reside in the subconscious mind. And because the subconscious mind represents about 90% of our mind power, that 90% tends to win over the 10% of our conscious thinking. So we make a conscious decision to make a change, but that 90% of our mind power is saying, oh no, we want to do things the habitual way, the way that we're used to doing them. And so it's so easy to slip back into the old pattern of overeating or choosing the wrong foods to eat. And then we end up what looks like sabotaging our diet. Now, why is it that we can't just decide to change our subconscious thinking? Well, there's a barrier around our subconscious mind that sort of protects us from being suggestible to every idea floating around out there. Now, when we're children, from the time we're born until about 8 years of age, our subconscious mind is wide open. We take in all kinds of ideas. We absorb information like sponges. And for better or for worse, we take in information incorrectly. We misunderstand things and we take in information. Sometimes we hear things and see things that we misinterpret. Sometimes we're just given bad messages. The people around us, the voices we hear, they feed us information that's not correct or it's not healthy for us to hear. And that information just sits in the subconscious mind. But as we mature, we develop a barrier around the subconscious mind that protects us from that sort of bombardment of information. We tend to use our logic and our reason to filter out ideas that we don't agree with. So if somebody gives us a negative message when we're a full-grown adult, we can easily reject that and say, no, that's not right. But when we're children, we're so open to ideas and so open to suggestion that everything that we hear, we take that in and it becomes buried in the subconscious mind. So you can imagine as a child being yelled at, being told you're bad, or you're lazy, you'll amount to nothing when you grow up. You know, sometimes these things are said in a moment of anger, but for a child, that information settles into the subconscious mind, and that becomes a belief for that child, even though as an adult, they consciously know that they can be successful. They consciously know that they're not a bad person, but yet these beliefs reside there in the subconscious mind. And so it can make making changes a very difficult process, because these unfounded beliefs will come up and sabotage the changes that you want to make. And so what we do in hypnosis is help you get into the right frame of mind and into a very relaxed state where this protective barrier that forms around the subconscious mind becomes very loose and very porous. And so ideas can easily filter into the subconscious and really correct some of those thought patterns that may have gotten in there. So what we do in hypnosis is we actually communicate with the subconscious mind. Self-hypnosis, or even hypnosis in an office with a hypnotist, it's a way that we can reach the subconscious mind and take those consciously chosen decisions, the things that we know are good for us, and the changes that we're choosing to make. We can take those ideas and move them into the subconscious mind, where once the subconscious mind is on the same page as your conscious decisions, that's where the power is, and that's where you can really make powerful changes, because your subconscious is no longer sabotaging the changes that you want to bring about in your life. So what can we use self-hypnosis for? Well, we can apply self-hypnosis to any area of our life where mindset plays a role. So I have a list here of some things that you might consider, such as academic performance, meaning you can work on your concentration and your focus, your motivation, overcoming test anxiety, confidence. You know, imagine going to a job interview and having much more confidence, meeting new people, public speaking, habit control, and this is where smoking cessation comes in, but also other habits like jaw clenching or nail biting, knuckle cracking, all of those habits that we just might not feel comfortable with, but we have a hard time breaking. Law of attraction. You might have heard of law of attraction. It might sound a little woo-woo, but it's a way that we can change our mindset around attracting your dream job, attracting positive relationships, attracting money and wealth into your life. Some of those buried negative beliefs can push these things away. And so with hypnosis, you can work with that to attract these things back into your life. Motivation for goal achievement, keeping commitments, and overcoming procrastination, overcoming fears. Now, of course, if you have serious anxiety or phobias that really interfere with your day-to-day life, you need to check with your healthcare provider first. But for just everyday fears, fears of public speaking, fear of flying or fear of driving, fear of going to the dentist or having other medical procedures done, Those fears you can easily work with in hypnosis. Relaxation. Hypnosis is a very relaxing process. And so just for general relaxation, also to help with better sleep, to help overcome insomnia, stress management, and sports performance. Imagine improving your endurance using hypnosis, taking on a winner's mindset, being a better team player, and just overall performing better as an athlete, or even performing better up on the stage. I mean, there's really no limit to the things that you can use self-hypnosis for, because it really is a very powerful change maker. And so any part of your life where mindset plays a role, hypnosis can help you improve. So let's talk about the steps to self-hypnosis. Now, there's actually 3 pre-steps before we even get to the hypnosis part. So let's talk about those. The first pre-step is choosing your goal. And then the second step is designing hypnotic suggestions that pertain to that goal. And then the third step is just preparing a quiet place where you can conduct your self-hypnosis sessions. So let's go back to the first one. That was choosing a goal. And if you don't already have a goal in mind, what you might want to do is spend a little time with a pad and paper and just writing down all of the goals that you have for yourself, all the positive changes that you want to make in your life. And then what you're going to do is go through that list and choose the one that is your top priority. And then once you have that goal, we're going to fine-tune it. You want to make your goal as detailed as possible. So just for an example, if you chose weight loss as one of your goals, and that's your top priority, decide the details of that. So how much weight do you want to lose? 10 pounds? 20 pounds? 100 pounds? Decide exactly how much weight you want to lose. Or decide what size you want to be. Maybe it's not the weight so much that's important to you, but maybe it's your size. Maybe you're a size 12 and you want to be a size 8. And so you would write that down, and that would be your goal, is to become a size 8. And you do want to be sure that whatever goal you choose is something that's attainable. You want to be realistic about it. If you're very tall and you're just a very big person, it may be unrealistic to expect that you're going to get to a size 8 and still be healthy. A size 8 may not be healthy for you. And so you want to choose a goal that you can really live with and that's healthy for you. And, when it comes to things like weight loss, you can talk to your doctor and find out what does he or she feel is your ideal weight and your ideal size. And you can use that as a guide for setting your goal. So you don't want to be unreasonable or unhealthy in the goals that you're choosing. So let's talk about the hypnotic suggestion. The hypnotic suggestion is really nothing more than a statement of what it is you want to achieve. And this is where those details really come into play, because it's really not enough to just say, I'm losing weight, or I want to lose weight. You really need to be specific. You need to think about what are the ways I want to lose weight. Do I want to exercise? Do I want to diet? And maybe you want to do both. And if I am dieting, in what way am I going to diet? Am I going to change what I eat? Or am I just going to eat less of what I'm already eating? Or a combination of those things. You really need to make some decisions before going into hypnosis so that you can speak positive affirmations that relate to the changes that you're going to make. So let me give you an example. An example of a hypnotic suggestion for weight loss might be, when I open the refrigerator to find a snack, I'm immediately attracted to the healthful fruits and vegetables. Now that's a great hypnotic suggestion for someone trying to break the habit of opening the refrigerator door and grabbing a soda or grabbing a slice of cake or a slice of pie, multiple times throughout the day. Wouldn't it be nice, and wouldn't it make weight loss easier if every time you went to the refrigerator, you just automatically chose the most healthy snack? And so that's what we're trying to program the mind to do. Another example might be, as I eat a healthy snack, I feel indulged and satisfied. You know how you feel after you eat a nice big piece of cake? Imagine if you felt that same exact way after eating an apple. Wouldn't that make weight loss easier? Well, you can have that same feeling, because remember, this is mindset, and hypnosis works in any area where mindset plays a role. And you can change your mindset so that you feel indulged and satisfied every time you eat an apple or another piece of fruit or lean protein or any healthy food, something that's good for you. I enjoy dancing each weekend. Or you can change that to any activity that you enjoy. Maybe it's swimming or running or bicycling, any activity that you enjoy. I enjoy fill in the blank each weekend or every day. You decide. These suggestions are for you, so you need to customize them to the changes that you want to make. Maybe you want to incorporate exercise into your life every single day. But then again, maybe your lifestyle is such that you really don't have all that much time during the week, but yet the weekends, that's your time to play and to cut loose, and maybe you can put your activity level on the weekend. For better eating, decide, what changes do I need to make with my eating? You want to eliminate certain foods, you want to take on other foods, you want to change the size of your portions. There's all different ways and different methods you can use to help yourself lose weight. And to make those changes easier and to help them to stick, not just temporarily while you're holding on with willpower, but to make those changes permanent, you really want to make suggestions that are customized to you specifically. What exactly will you be eating for now and in the future to not only lose the weight, but to maintain that weight loss? What foods would you like to eat? Do you have favorite health foods? Include that in your suggestions. And it doesn't mean that you can never have a slice of cake ever again. You've got to live, you've got to enjoy life. But once it becomes habitual to you to eat in a new way and to incorporate activity into your life in a new way, these habits begin to take on a life of their own, and it can't help but change your weight status because you're doing things in a whole new way. And so you're going to live in a much healthier way. And this works for any kind of habit. Even the habit of smoking. You can make some positive suggestions there that from now on, I breathe fresh, clean air. I enjoy taking deep breaths of fresh, clean air. And that can be a very powerful suggestion for giving up smoking. You don't want to focus on the giving up part. You don't want to beat yourself up and tell yourself, I'm quitting smoking. I'm letting go of smoking. Because the subconscious mind sort of sees that as a threat, and it will rise up and sort of fight against what you're trying to do. But if you make it something positive, that you're adding something to your life, then it becomes a positive change that the subconscious mind can accept. And in accepting this positive change, it just automatically pushes out the old activity that you were doing before. And so as you make that commitment and change your mindset to where you enjoy taking deep breaths of fresh air, that just automatically pushes out any behavior that involves breathing anything but fresh air. And so smoking just gets excluded from your life. Now remember, like I said earlier, these changes can be difficult to make from a conscious level because you have your subconscious mind fighting against you. But when you're in the hypnotic state and you're very relaxed and that critical area of mind becomes very porous, these new ideas filter right into the subconscious mind, and it makes that change of mindset very easy and very natural. So there are 3 elements to consider when you're creating your hypnotic suggestions that you're going to use in your self-hypnosis. These are your intention, your motivation, and the potential blocks to your success. So starting with the intention is simply the goal or the result that you're seeking, such as weight loss. So I always use weight loss as an example because that's just a popular one that people ask about all the time. So remember, you're going to focus on one intention at a time. You want to be specific about what that goal is, exactly how much weight do you want to lose, or what size do you want to be. And each of your suggestions is going to connect to your intention. And so if you want to lose weight, your suggestions are going to be connected to your diet. They're going to be connected to exercise. They're going to be connected to even maybe stress control or hydration. There could be all kinds of different elements that play into your weight loss program. The next one is motivation. Why do you want to lose weight? Or why do you want to work on this goal? What is your motivation? What's the reason for it? Now, your motivation to lose weight might be something as simple as, hey, I want to lose 5 to 10 pounds before my class reunion. And that's perfectly fine if that's your motivation. Your motivation might be for better health. I don't feel healthy at this weight. I want to lose weight so I can feel healthier and have more energy and maybe even live longer. If that's your motivation, that's great. That's perfect. There is no right or wrong answer. There's no one motivation that's better than another motivation. It's what motivates you. What has made you decide to work on this goal at this time? And you'll see how that plays into the suggestions. And then the last one is listing your potential blocks for success. Now, there's reasons why you haven't reached your goal already, and these blocks are a part of that. And so you're going to look at the parts of you that might not want to change. You know, change isn't always an easy thing, and these blocks will just show up in your life to make change difficult. The subconscious mind loves routine. It loves the old way of living, the old habits, and this is why we have to sort of coax the subconscious mind. You know, cravings. Cravings are a very common block for those trying to lose weight or for quitting smoking. And you just want to identify as many blocks as you possibly can so that you can address them in your self-hypnosis. And you might address a different block in each session. So you're going to have more than one hypnosis session. So depending how many blocks you have, if they're similar, you might be able to address several blocks in one session. But if they're very different, you really want to focus on one block at a time and work on that in hypnosis to get past that block. And hypnosis isn't just about words. So it's not just about creating a verbal suggestion. It also has to do with visualization. The subconscious mind loves images, it loves pictures. And so in hypnosis, you're going to visualize yourself. If you're working on weight loss, you're going to visualize yourself at a lighter weight or a smaller size. If you're a smoker, you're going to visualize yourself doing activities without the cigarette. So if you normally smoke in the car, you're going to visualize yourself driving with no cigarette in your hands, both hands on the steering wheel. If you normally smoke while having your morning cup of coffee, you know, I would ask you to visualize yourself drinking your coffee without a cigarette in hand, maybe grasping that coffee cup with two hands because you're not encumbered by a cigarette. And so taking these visualizations in while you're in hypnosis, these images settle into the subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind will actually create the conditions within you to bring these changes about very naturally. Okay, so the third step before we start the actual hypnosis is preparing a place to do your self-hypnosis session. And basically, you just want to find a quiet area where you can practice your hypnosis. And if you live in a household with other people, you might just want to let them know, hey, I'm going to be in the bedroom for about 45 minutes to an hour. Please don't disturb me. Just leave me alone. I'll come back out in 45 minutes to an hour, and then you'll have my undivided attention. And hopefully the people that you live with will cooperate with that. If possible, you want to turn off all your electronics. If you can unplug the phone, Turn off your iPhone. You don't want anything to interrupt you. And you can conduct your session either in a chair, sitting up, or in a recliner, or even lying down on the bed. But you want to be careful that you don't fall asleep. Hypnosis is not about falling asleep. You might look like you're asleep when you're hypnotized, but your mind is actually very active and you're very much awake and alert. So you don't want to get so comfortable that you put yourself to sleep. So if you're lying down, you just want to be careful about that you can manage to stay awake. I personally like to practice hypnosis sitting up. Just for that reason, just so I don't fall asleep and then it turns out to be a wasted session because I never got to the point of doing my hypnotic suggestions. So, you really want to be comfortable, but you want to stay awake as well. But really, that's the worst thing that can happen in hypnosis, is that you fall asleep. And then you just wake up as if you've just woken up from a nap. So there's really no harm that can happen from hypnosis, but it can just sort of waste your time and mess up your sleep pattern in the process. So you want to be careful about falling asleep. And you might also, just to play it safe, if you have things to do later in the day and there's no one around to check on you, you might just want to, set an egg timer for 45 minutes to an hour, or set an alarm clock, just to wake you up in case you happen to fall asleep. So that's all you really need, is just a comfortable corner where you won't be disturbed and where you can be comfortable. Then the next steps take us into the hypnotic process itself. And I have 4 steps for the hypnotic process. So the first step of the hypnotic process is simply inducing the hypnosis, creating the hypnotic state. And then we go into the deepening, which is just taking that state and we're going to deepen it. And then programming the goals. This is where you're going to use your hypnotic suggestions that you created earlier, and then you'll see how that works. And then the final step is just bringing yourself up out of hypnosis when you're done. So let's go to that first one, inducing the hypnotic state. And this is where you want to relax your body and you want to relax your mind. And you just sort of begin by taking a couple of deep breaths. And you're not really trying to change your breathing pattern. Of course, if you work with meditation or you work with yoga and you know how to do different forms of rhythmic breathing, you can certainly incorporate that into the hypnosis, but it's not necessary. Just take 1 or 2 deep breaths to start the process. Allow your breathing to find its own natural rhythm, and then you can just focus on your breathing. Focus on the sensations of breathing. It really does become very relaxing, just focusing on the breath. You can also focus your vision. Find a spot on the wall, or if you're laying down, find a spot on the ceiling. Just gaze at that spot. And so you're focusing visually, you're focusing kinesthetically while you're focusing on your breath. And just really, incorporate your senses into that sense of focus. You can even use hearing. If you're an auditory type of person, focus on your hearing. What can you hear in the room? Maybe you even want to play some hypnotic music. You don't want to play anything with a melody that you'll be humming or singing along to, but some new age music or just some ambient music, ambient sounds, that's ideal for working in hypnosis, especially if you're an auditory person. Now, so what's the deepener? The deepener is where you just bring in more elements into the hypnotic process. I utilize a lot of counting, to count down, to count back There's something about counting down from 10 to 1 or from 20 down to 1 that's very relaxing, and you can incorporate visualization into that process as well to deepen the relaxation. And what you do is you set the intention that with every count, you're going to let yourself relax a little deeper and a little deeper with every count. And visualization helps with this. You can visualize a staircase. And if you're going to count 10 to 1, visualize a staircase with 10 steps. If you want to count 20 down to 1, visualize a staircase with 20 steps. If you're new to hypnosis, try counting down from 20 to 1. If you're more practiced with hypnosis, you might not need that long of a count. 10 might be ample. And if you count from 10 down to 1 and you just don't feel that it was long enough, that's okay. Start the count over. Do it a second time. You can do the deepener multiple times. You can do different deepening visualizations to bring yourself to the level of relaxation and the level of hypnosis that feels right for you. And so you can take as much time with the deepening as you need. There's no right or wrong length of time. Some people go into hypnosis very quickly, and some people take a little bit longer. It doesn't mean that you're going to get better results because you went into hypnosis quickly, or that the hypnosis isn't going to work as well because it took you too long to get into hypnosis. No, not at all. It's just everybody's different. And so with practice, you'll find that you go into hypnosis much faster each time you practice hypnosis. And you also go in a little bit deeper each time you practice hypnosis. You know, it's like anything, practice makes perfect. But there really is no perfect in hypnosis. Every hypnosis session you have is going to feel a little bit different. And there's benefits to all of them, whether you go into hypnosis quickly or if you go into hypnosis slowly. Then, once you've deepened into that hypnotic state, then that comes time to program your goals. And this is where those hypnotic suggestions come into play. And so you're going to silently think to yourself those hypnotic suggestions that you came up with previously. Now, you might be using several hypnotic suggestions in a hypnosis session, and it might be hard for you to remember what those suggestions are. And so once you're in the hypnosis, it may be hard for you to recall exactly what it was that you wanted to say to yourself. But what you can do is make a recording of your own voice, guiding yourself into the hypnotic process and speaking your hypnotic suggestions. And now in the next video, you're going to hear a sample of guided hypnosis. And what you can do is take that and use that as a template for creating your own hypnosis. And you're just going to customize it to yourself. You're going to change the suggestions that I'm using in that sample and put in your own suggestions instead. And write out a script of what you want to say, and then speak it into a digital recorder or an old cassette tape, you know, whatever you have. Record that, and then you're going to play it back for yourself. And then this way you won't miss any of the suggestions that you wanted to include in your hypnosis. And you just want to be careful to keep a very slow, comfortable pace. You'll be surprised when you're deeply relaxed and you're in the hypnotic state everything that you say is going to sound much faster than you think it is when you're making the recording. And again, it may take a little bit of experimentation. So make your recording, practice with it. And if you feel like, oh, that was too fast, it was hard to relax because it was too fast, or the hypnotic suggestions went by too quickly, I didn't have time to really think about them and take them in, then redo the recording and just speak it slower. And you'll practice and you'll get good at it, and you'll be able to customize it to just the right level for yourself. So don't be afraid of that. Just, don't be afraid to experiment with it. And then you're going to bring yourself out of hypnosis. And the way to do that, you can bring yourself out of hypnosis quickly by just opening your eyes. And that's it. The session's over. I like to bring the hypnosis session to a close a little more gradually. And there's a reason for that. When you're in hypnosis, you're very relaxed. You feel very positive. Why wouldn't you want to bring those feelings back with you into your conscious, awake state of mind? And just like waking up from a pleasant dream, you might notice if the alarm jangles and wakes you up suddenly out of a dream, that dream just sort of dissipates and you lose the feeling of it. But if you just wake up naturally and slowly, and you can just lie there and linger with the dream, you can bring back some of those good feelings from the dream. Well, it's the same way with hypnosis. You build up a lot of really good, positive feelings, and you've got that deep, relaxed state that just feels so good. And so you want to come up out of hypnosis gradually, and you can just do that by counting up. Just like you counted down to bring yourself into hypnosis, you're going to count up to bring yourself out of hypnosis. And it doesn't matter if you count 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. I usually go with 1 to 5. I let 1 represent that state of hypnosis that you're already in. And then 2 is just with your eyes closed, just bringing your awareness back into the room that you're in. And 3 is just beginning to open your eyes. You're not going to open them all the way, but you're just going to sort of just begin to open them. And then for the count of 4, you're going to open your eyes, let in some of that sunlight. And then 5, that represents that wide awake, fully alert state of mind. And so that's how you come up, and you just count up very slowly as is comfortable for you. And you can even take a deep breath just to re-stimulate yourself and kind of get that energy back again. And then that's it. And then you just go about your day, and you can carry those good feelings with you. And there's nothing else you need to do. You just have to trust that your subconscious mind is going to process the information that you fed it, and it will process it in its own way. You might even dream about your goal at night as your mind is processing some of the ideas that you gave it during your hypnosis session. But that's really all there is to it. And I know a lot of this is very theoretical, and it might sound a little bit confusing, but if you watch the second video, in the second video, I'm actually going to give you a sample of a hypnosis session, and that's a model that you can use for your self-hypnosis. And so, like I said earlier, you're just going to customize what I'm doing in that video. You're going to customize it for yourself and create a very powerful self-hypnosis program for yourself. And so, there are other hypnotic techniques. This isn't the only hypnotic technique out there. This is just a very simple one to get you started. But of course, the library has books on hypnosis and on self-hypnosis. We have music CDs that you can incorporate into your hypnotic session so that you can have some ambient sound or some new age music in the background to help with your relaxation process. So check out these materials and see if you can incorporate other ideas into your hypnosis session. So I hope you'll enjoy the second video as well, and so I'll see you over there in video number 2. Bye bye.